Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this exhibition match. Please welcome, from Belgium, David Gafar, and his opponent from Spain, Rafael Nadal.
Hello and welcome, I'm Simuke, I'm a full-time YouTuber and games critic, and today I'm going to be reviewing AO International Tennis by Big Ant Studios. Is this review for you? Well, if you're looking for the ultimate realism in your gaming, then yes, this review is meant for you. If, however, you get upset and cannot embrace the challenge when games are too difficult or demanding, then no, this is probably not the right review for you. That being said, everyone is welcome here, and I do respect and appreciate all thoughts and opinions, so I encourage you to comment and ask me any questions you might have in the comment section below. So on Steam, AO International Tennis is described in this manner. It's the most authentic, community-focused tennis game ever. Make use of the comprehensive PlayFace Stadium Creator and other customization features to put a photorealistic version of you into your local tennis competition, up against the greats, including Rafael Nadal. So, developers Big Ant Studios have produced this game, and they released it on the 8th of May 2018, so this review is coming at you pretty late on. At the moment, it's going to cost you somewhere between $14.99, which is the for sale price, what I picked it up for, but its normal price on Steam is $19.99. You might be able to find it cheaper somewhere else on the internet. Big Ant Studios are a long-time and fairly well-known sports simulation developer. They're best known for Rugby League Live and Don Bradman Cricket, both of which are very well-received games. This is the first tennis release from Big Ant Studios, but it incorporates all of the features which you can see with most of Big Ant's recent releases. They have both male and female players, a career, and of course the stadium and logo creation tools. The quick review is this. Big Ant Studios have had quite a bit of cash from me this year. Some of it I have taken back via Steam's return policy, but this one is definitely staying in my collection, and hopefully I will be enjoying it all year round. Yes, even outside of the Wimbledon weeks. One thing which really impresses me most about Big Ant Studios is their often genius attempts to incorporate real-life aspects of the game, which they then simulate into a relatable controller movement. I hope that makes sense. In Rugby League Live, it's the right thumbstick which is used to add additional weight and strength in any one given particular direction. There is a similar approach with Don Bradman's cricket when you're playing shots and bowling, in fact. Not so much with the Ashes cricket series, which has seemingly been dumbed down a little bit. Hopefully that's not the direction that they're going in. But certainly AO International Tennis has this in abundance, and once it's mastered, amazing things really can be achieved. I'd like to mention there is also a demo available of this game on Steam, so after this review, head on over there and take a look for free. From my perspective, this one is highly recommended, but if you want a more in-depth review, then keep watching. I always like to start my reviews off with the UI. Now, for a lot of people, UI is just nothing, it's not important, but actually it's very important in every single game. It's the interaction from you to the game and the game back to you. It's very important, and in AO International Tennis, the UI is crisp, responsive, and intuitive. There is almost nothing wrong with the UI at all. To be a little bit overcritical, I would say that I'm not a fan of the schedule calendar in career mode, but really that is searching for things to complain about. The graphics in all Big Ant Studio games have similarities, and the same applies here. But there is extra emphasis on the photorealistic recreation of the top tennis stars here, and I would say that arguably this is Big Ant's best graphical representation yet. The stadiums are faithfully recreated, and each match is a pleasure to watch and engage in, especially with the in-game animations, which add that little bit of extra immersion for me. Player character creation is limited, but it's functional. It's better to have it than to not have it, and I'm sure that with a little bit of time and effort, a fairly decent likeness could be achieved. Having said that, I very much doubt, and I'd like to be corrected here, but I very much doubt that the photorealistic likenesses were created using this tool. The logo, and more importantly the stadium creation tools, are not for the light-hearted. My gut reaction was, this is very complex, limited yet powerful, and overwhelmingly I found it intimidating, time-consuming, and a little bit bewildering. This is not something I expect the majority of people will be looking at. Thankfully, there is a community of professionals who are both happy and willing to create and share their absolute masterpieces. Big Ant Studios rarely miss a beat when it comes to performance, and the same applies here. There is solid FPS, backed up by some crisp and clean animations, and excellent ball physics. The audio in AO International Tennis is excellent. I'm going to give it a solid 9 out of 10. From the reactive spectators to the impeccable umpire who silences the crowd when necessary, this really is very good indeed. So good is the audio in this game, I can't help but wish they had done a bit more. If you're having a truly bad game, for example, and to start with, you will, it would be excellent to have some shouts of encouragement and rapturous applause should you start to turn the game around and get into your flow. Maybe as you progress in the career that does become more present, but certainly in the short amount of time that I had to make this review, I didn't really see much of that. These features are already implemented, but only to a point, and it's done exceptionally well. But having experienced how good it can be, I really hope that Big Ant Studios push the boat out a little bit further with their next instalment. Big Ant Studios are an Australian company and have in the past somewhat limited their coverage specifically to this area of the world. I am glad to say that AO International Tennis is, as the name suggests, international in this regard. However, the AO does stand for Australian Open. The tutorials are great. The game is tough to master, and therefore the tutorials are so important. Unfortunately, as is often the case with Big Ant Studios, button configuration is a missing feature. I know a lot of work went into creating the simulated experience, and as a result, changing the keybinds is not going to be as easy as some might mistakenly think. But I do feel that there should be some wiggle room here. Maybe a left-handed version, a right-handed version, something, some sort of controller configuration options at least. I did, however, find this game to be highly realistic. It's accomplished and pieced together in a way that also makes it feel really fun. It is a very close simulated feeling of actually getting out on the court and playing a few sets in real life. The audio further enhances the ambience, the realism, and therefore the immersion, and as a package, this game really does deliver for me. As you might expect, the career element really does do a lot to encourage replayability, and the slow, arduous and rewarding growth of your character's abilities, and indeed your own, is what sport is all about. There is a genuine skill set available here, and it's done in such a way that if you play tennis in real life, you might actually start to improve there too, with better shot decisions and understanding for the game. There is the option to play online against other players, and any fans of QWERTY Afro might be pleased to hear that we are hoping to test this out. And in fact, we've nearly played a couple of times, but we've just sort of missed each other a little bit. We're playing Steam Tennis, if you will. A big shout out to QWERTY, by the way, who actually introduced me to this title. If you're a fan of all things sim, especially train sims, then most definitely head over to QWERTY Afro's YouTube page. He is absolutely worth a look. Rather sensibly, I think, I started with the tutorials, and it was a good job too, because even the basics take a little bit of time to get to grips with. The tutorials also double up as training during career mode, and I do have a concern around this area, but I'll get into that in a bit. There are basically 3 parts to a shot: stamina, power, and direction. Oh, and accuracy. Oh, and timing. Oh yes, when you're good enough, there are additional effects that you could put on the ball too, like spin and break, etc. So it's quite involved. At first, this feels a little bit like you're balancing a saucepan on your head whilst juggling live otters and trying to change a baby's nappy at the same time, and often the end result is going to be remarkably similar. After my initial basics training, I jumped into a quick match as Nadal. I quickly picked up the technique, not to mention the timing and how to control the rather swift and responsive aiming system, which is so important in a game like tennis, where split-second decisions decide who the victor is going to be. And I have to say, I quite like it in this game. We had a great match. There were lots of great shots and rallies, the occasional ace, a bit of controversy, and some great shots too.
Nadal is challenging the call on the left baseline. The ball was called out. Nadal has 3 challenges remaining.
It was a real nail-biter right to the bitter end, and the victor, I think, was most deserving.
Game and first set, Nadal.
Having won in such an awesome manner, I felt like it was time that I embarked upon my own career. Just a taster to see what the difference is from the top tier to the bottom. I really wasn't prepared for just how different things were going to be.
Love 15.
Top tier players are faster, their shot timing bars move slower, and their accuracy is closer to being on point than a rookie who is playing a shot on green, even when they have played a terribly badly timed shot in a fully read state on a no-look cross-court shot. That is such a tricky thing to say.
Love 40.
Even when they have played a terribly badly timed, fully read, no-look cross-court shot. Now, it actually does make some sense to me that Nadal's timing bar is much slower, given the perceived impression that he is consistently more accurate than a newly created character like mine. But, and I said I would return to this concern earlier, when training, the shot speed for a rookie is totally different than it is in a match. In the match, it is much, much faster. Much faster. So, having practiced my serve at the slower pace in training and boosted my confidence a little, the second I get out onto the court, my timing is well off and I am literally all over the place. Like I say, the perceived ability of top-class players I understand, but the training speed difference does confuse me. I would love someone at Big Ant Studios to clarify what their thinking was around this one single decision. For me, it makes more sense that in training, your player's speed bar is the same as it is when you're on the court, thereby giving you an opportunity to practice. Whilst I'm in the moaning about things mode, I might as well mention the speed at which your player moves when receiving a serve. Maybe this movement could just be a little bit more responsive. Perhaps the overall speed of the game could be turned up a single notch or two. Certainly, in real life, I have never ever prepared for a serve in such a slow, bent over fashion. Nothing about it feels right, and it really stands out because everything else in the game is so damn good. With these minor issues aside, this is one very accomplished tennis simulation. There are skills to learn, and once mastered, amazing things really can be achieved. It will take time, dedication, and above all, practice. And as a true sports fan, and equally a fan of simulation, this is music to my ears. And what is even more remarkable is that it genuinely feels like a game of tennis. The controls somehow map realistically in a way that makes me feel like I am actually holding a racket and playing those shots, even when they miss. So kudos to Big Ant Studios for that. In a relatively short space of time, I started to instinctively know where my shot marker was, and more importantly, when and how to time my shots. I have a long way to go to make it to the top, but progress is progress, and this is a journey I could definitely enjoy battling through. So a quick conclusion and my estimation of whether or not this is good value for money. I'd say yes, it is good value for money, even at the full price of $19.99. The gameplay for me is spot on, it's challenging, it's rewarding, and it's fair. Graphics are all good, all round, and the ball physics I felt were pretty darn excellent. The audio is brilliant. I'd love to see more of the same please. This is really, really good. The career is a critical element for a simulation title, and I am extremely thankful that it is present here, although I think a little bit more time could be spent improving this area. The game ships with all the major competitions, which if you are good enough you can compete in via the career. If you're not, then you can also elect to just jump in and play a single tournament. The fact that the training speeds do not match the career players' on-court speeds, it really irritates me. This is the only thing that the only real gripe that I have with the game. I just fail to see how this makes any sense. I wish they would just change it or explain their logic behind that decision. I think there could be more variety in the AI shots, movement and position, but then I haven't really got up against the best players, and maybe I'll see more of that as things progress. What I'd like to see is faster movement for the player receiving the ball during serves, perhaps a faster overall pace to the game, especially on grass. It's almost there, it just at times feels a little bit laggy. I'd like even more awesome reactive audio for the fans and the umpires. It's a really great feature that could be enhanced so much more. They're really onto something here, and I hope they expand upon it. And finally, I've got to say this because I've just been thinking it constantly over the last couple of months. I would love to see Big Ant Studios make a new and improved Olympics title. Wow. That really would be something to get my teeth into. I hope this review has been helpful for you, and if you have any questions, comments, thoughts, please share in the comments section below. Thanks for watching, take care of yourselves, until next time, goodbye for now.